Hello, this is Pew Pew Choo Choo, and today we're going to be playing some Steel Panthers World War II, and this is a turn-based strategy game, and we are actually going to be generating a randomly generated campaign, pretty much, set in World War II. So we're going to play as Nazi Germany, and we're going to start in 1942, September 1942, and we're going to end when the war ends, playing 7 battles. So let's get on started. Well, we have a choice of different fronts to fight on right now. So we have North Africa, the Balkans, and the Eastern Front. I'm gonna go with the Eastern Front because I know what I'm facing inside Stalingrad, and I know Stalingrad started about a month ago, so we're fairly early into the war. So right now we actually have to choose the base troops that actually go from battle to battle with us, and they pretty much level up in a sense and become stronger as we go. So the first thing I'm actually going to buy is this artillery forward observer unit. So as you can see here, it comes with two units inside this selection, which is obviously the forward observer and a light truck. It costs us 88 points out of our total of 44.7. Down here, you can see the breakdown of what the unit's weapons are. Each unit can contain 4 weapons, and some statistics about the unit, such as speed, carry capacity, menace, the amount of people inside the squad. And, well, I'm gonna buy this because artillery is very important, and it's always a good idea to buy one. We can buy a few more troops before we leave, and well, let's pick out what we need. So there's quite a lot of different formations we can buy. As you can see here, this is actually only for infantry. I think there's even more for tanks later on. So we can buy a regular infantry squad, which is a little slower than normal, seeing as usually you have mechanized units or motorized units on trucks. However, as this campaign goes on, the more points we spend, the larger that force value is, the more the enemy gets. So I think I'm actually going to go with a dismounted Panzer Grenadier squad or company, and you can see that we have quite a few different choices of different troops on the left hand side. I've already pre-picked out our loadout, so we're gonna get um, four of these, which are actually numbered. So you can look in the middle of the screen what I'm actually selecting from the side menu. So our mechanized infantry is gonna come with Gewehr 41s and MG 42s, which are obviously superior to Mauser rifles and MG 34s, but cost the same. So, and we're obviously going to get the better one out of the two with the machine guns, and we're going to buy one set of those. So we are pretty much actually out of points, and I'm actually going to start it right there. And I'll talk more about the weapons later on as we get into the game. Right now, I just want to start the battle and have something that I can talk about mid-game. Well, this is the map for today. This is actually a randomly generated place. I can hit that button and generate a new set of places. Oh, here we go. So this is the map for today. We are to capture this housing block, and this is a meeting engagement. So all we really need to do is capture these white flags, and hopefully, but I'm pretty sure we don't actually have to, take some of these Russian points. So right now we have the option of buying some support troops for us. And what do we need in urban warfare? Well, first and foremost, I am going to get some artillery. I'm going to get 2 mortars, which will put down a little bit of bombardment, which is very important in suppressing infantry, and I'll talk more about that later on. What else do we need? Well, another thing we would like to have is some engineers. Here you can see we can actually buy airborne infantry with planes to actually drop onto the map. I'm not going to do any of that because it's very expensive. I'm actually going to buy some, as soon as I can find it, there we go, some pioneers, some engineers with flamethrowers. So right now you can see their loadout is a Mauser rifle, a flame rocket, a flame thrower, a flammenwerfer, and some kind of grenade, I would assume. So I'm gonna buy one of those. And that is our core troops. Well, our force value is 673, so I expect to fight a enemy force that is like that. Well, now we actually have to deploy our troops. Our forward observer is actually going to sit on this road with its transport hidden somewhere. I don't want that thing blowing up and then I had to place it. So now I had to place down my troops onto the field. So I'll put these two units here in. What these two units are commander units actually. So if I open up the headquarters menu, you can see that A unit, A0 is actually the commander unit. And pretty much what this means is that red units are able to pretty much rally any other unit, and yellow units are able to rally anything under them. So take for example D2 unit. Anything with a number that's not 0 can only rally itself. Anything that is with a 0 can rally anything within the same letter, and anything that is either a yellow unit listed here on the right hand side, or a red unit can rally anything underneath it. So this might not make a lot of sense right now, but later on you'll see why I chose to put these units like how I did. Well, I need to set up everything, so just give me a moment. There we go. Well, let's begin. So I'm gonna be moving my troops forward and just pretty much taking these victory hexes by, well, just kind of running over them, really. Oh, it looks like we've actually. Oh crap! Oh crap! That's not very good. That's generally not very good when you can see heavy artillery like that. So this is a Katyusha, BM-13 Katyusha, and you can tell by the left top corner. And it looks like they have a lot of tanks too. So the enemy composition is actually also really random. It pits you against a fairly realistic, core group of Russian troops, and from what I see right now, just seeing the T-34 and the Katyusha, is that we're going up against a armor composition. So maybe a, I don't know, armor company, I guess. I chose a fairly small map too, so that's why we kind of met on the first turn. Well, what that means is that they won't be all too suited for infantry combat, which is perfect for us. This map has a lot of buildings, and buildings are places that troops can hide in really easily. Infantry get a bonus to this, and that is perfect. That's good for me. Looks like we're also finding them on this street as well. So I'm actually going to deploy some smoke and start moving my troops inside buildings. I want to fight inside these buildings with the enemy. I do not want to engage them anywhere else, and this is because when we get close, as in one hex, we're like 2 hexes away, is when infantry does the most damage. I've also placed my troops on this road inside the little hexes with craters, because that also gives us a bonus. So at the moment I actually don't want to meet the enemy, because I noticed that that was actually a guard squad, and what that means is that those squads typically have more experience than regular troops. For example, Germany's troops are fairly high quality. If I take a look at this menu right here, you can see our experience and morale on the right hand side. So we are pretty much all up inside the 80s and the 70s, and 80 is pretty much the cap for what you'd consider a veteran troop. So right off the bat, our troops are like amazing. Our troops are already veteran. And well, that's just to represent the historical troop quality back then, and I think Russia actually only has a troop quality of 55 right now. I'm trying to get some mortar fire onto this Katusha. If I open this info panel here, near the bottom you can see the sprites, and you can see that all of these zeros are around the four sides of the unit, which means that on this unit, on all four sides, it has no armor, making it fairly vulnerable to whatever we put down, which in this case will be a lot of heavy bombardment. Hopefully that'll be able to take it out. If not, oh well, because that's an easy 26 points. How we win is pretty much dependent on how many points we have. So, capturing these flags, killing enemies, and not losing our own men are things. Oh, we are doing a lot of damage today. But I need to do something really fast. Yeah, I do not want our troops constantly launching those rockets. Those rockets I bought. So these Stern Pioneers Flame Division have these 32-centimeter flame rocket. Well, he's actually out of rockets right now. The ammo counter right here. So I don't want him constantly firing off those rockets into pretty much nothing. And I'm actually going to put some suppression onto this unit. So we actually gained some suppression. Suppression is just right on under range. And that's what I was talking about earlier in terms of rallying. So right now I've rallied the unit back to 1 suppression. And every time we rally, as long as we are successful in rallying, we can keep on rallying. Which lowers the amount of suppression we have. So the goal of infantry combat is to put as much suppression on as many units as possible, so in that when we rally, we will be able... Oh, there's a nice cluster of them. So I'm gonna target whichever one is in the center, and I'm actually gonna launch some of those flame rockets into them. What that'll do is actually hit everything around there, and I'm gonna hit them again. And chances are is that that's gonna cause some serious suppression. You can see that one enemy squad is actually already routed by those rockets, so they are quite deadly. The goal of pretty much doing this is to put as much suppression on as many different units as possible. Wow, that's a lot of them. And this will prevent them from... Oh, this is an LMG squad. Oh well. And this will pretty much prevent them from being able to rally one unit so many times, and therefore keeping them pinned. In these squads, our SMGs do absolutely amazing damage. So, as long as we're under 4 hexes, this Panzer Grenadier SMG troop will be able to just rape units. But the thing I want to deal with is this tank, and you obviously probably noticed that this tank is actually taken out. And, well, I wouldn't really bother to say that some of you might, wonder how I took it out. Well, our infantry can actually assault the tank, so if I got this squad right here, brought them up, I can actually assault the tank, and it looks like I immobilized it. So this also works with suppression and morale. If our unit isn't suppressed, it makes assaulting so much easier. Now bear in mind, this is like a little gamey. Keep in mind that each hex is actually 50 meters, and like the message comes up pretty fast. This is a pretty old game, and its game speed is actually really only dependent on how fast the CPU runs. So you might have not catched it, but we managed to destroy it with a hand grenade, and what that actually means in real life is one of the troops managed to pretty much become more Michael Jordan, pulled the pin on a grenade and threw it into like the top little hatch of the tank, and then blew it up like that. But hey, it works, so I'm not gonna like ignore it or say that it's a bug or anything. So we're gonna move forward, hopefully. But it looks like me and the AI have had two like drastically different plans. His idea was to try to stay near the edges of the map, since it's a small map that we're fighting on, and pretty much try to fight his way from a flank into my backside, and it looks like it's actually working. I thought he was going to use the two roads in the middle of the map, which the AI normally tries to do, but oh well. Look at the crew panic, but not actually succeed in doing anything. So, what are we going to do about this now? Well, normally you're encouraged to have pretty much extra units just sitting around, you know, as reserves. Sadly, I don't normally have reserves unless it's tanks. So right now we're just gonna have to put some artillery there and actually suppress them until they're all routed. Since we have engineers, we can kind of abuse our ability of using these flamethrowers to just kind of constantly put rockets and such down onto them, which obviously makes our job so much more easier. Like, I really don't want to fight them with engineers unless they're really close by, but I really have no choice. You can see that we failed 2 rallies right there, so both of those leaders, I think it's this squad's leader, so I can't even pronounce any of these German names, but the point is the 0 unit and this particular squad's commander will be both unable to rally, so IO and I3. At the moment, it looks like we have a solid roadblock here, and you know what they say, don't fix what's not broken, so I think I'll leave it as that. And I really want to take out that Katusha. I'm near at the bottom. I might be able to get another squad there if there's little resistance up here. The enemy really likes to put down these rocket bombardments when it has them. In reality, those aren't really effective. So you can see that they hit a very large area, but they're not very accurate, which is really bad for artillery. The goal of having good artillery is to just kind of hit a lot of places near one single target, which it doesn't do very well. Well, this might be a little problematic. Oh. I'm gonna try to rally my unit if I so happen to succeed, and I do. I'm gonna drop some smoke onto the map, so now only the AMG can actually hit me. And I can actually do damage to that, so I've created a little smoke corridor that I can abuse. This squad's gonna go up, hopefully come down around and assault the tank. I'm going to bring the MGs over here, and this squad I am going to try to move down to the tank, and I'll show you people a little trick later on when we actually get next to the tank. This squad, I'm going to try to kill the squad. I can blind fire into hexes by doing this. Obviously some hexes like here I can't, but over here I can. So I'm gonna spray down that squad of guards troops. I'm gonna move my way over here and just pretty much see if they react. And it looks like they didn't react, but now we're kind of stuck. Oh well. I had hoped that we had one more fire ready, so then we can just kind of shoot that, kill it really easily. Oh well. Perfect. We've actually cleared this area down here without very many help. That was what I was going to say. But then I got tongue-tied. So up here, we're gonna try to sweep down and hopefully take down that Katusha. It's just doing quite a good job at hitting us down here. Our troops are spread out, and that's really all they're good for is trying to pick up. Oh, that probably could have gone better. Should have turned on the flamethrower because then they just kind of used it on themselves. Oh well. Looks like we can move up a little bit. No, I do not want the encyclopedia. Okay, so now we can take a look at the enemy. So it looks like we have actually defeated all of their troops down here, except for that squad, maybe. Up here, the tanks are really going to be the only real problem in the long run. I might be able to try to get right up next to it and kill this Katyusha right now. There we go. I know these things don't come by themselves. I know they always hunt in pairs. So I'm going to have to try to find the second Katyusha. Yeah, there's still one alive. Well, taking a little bit of casualties is actually good for units because it actually causes them to gain experience faster. If you think about it, it makes quite a bit of sense, seeing as, you know, the first time in battle, when you start losing people, you generally panic, right? But if you get used to that situation, it actually doesn't do as much. This is going to be quite a battle between seeing whose commanders are better. And looks like ours wins. So that's the problem with walking into little building blocks like this. If you walk into it and you have no way to fight the enemy, it's quite bloody. But anywho, I'm gonna try to let our C0 unit, which is the company commander, kind of bleed themselves a little bit, just so that they get a little more experience. The only real unit that we need a lot of experience on is the forward observer here. And every time I call in a strike, it helps out a little bit. So that's always good. Found the second Katyusha. Normally you can just locate them by where there's smoke after a unit fires like that. It normally leaves some smoke behind, but with Katyushas in all of this urban terrain, it would have been pretty difficult to find it. You can kind of see our mortars having a little bit of smoke in it. Yeah, that's not good. We lost a squad down here, and we lost one over... Well, we almost lost C0. That would have been terrible. But it looks like I've isolated this housing block for now, which is good, I guess. And it looks like they're starting to rally themselves, which might be problematic. How many Katyushas do they have? I swear, this better be the last one, because I really hate having to track down artillery units like this. Well, let's continue sweeping down. They have one unit here, where I'd expect them to have only one. So overall, we are winning. That is good. Bah. Okay, so they had two here. We routed one. I'm gonna call this squad back since that that one-man team isn't much of a threat. Kill that one. Keep on firing. And grab some hexes while I'm at it. Really not really sure why there's so many AA guns here, even though we don't have we don't even have planes with us. But oh well. We're gonna take that out like that, and we're gonna try to assault this tank. Perfect. You always have to depend on your units reacting to enemy fire like that in those circumstances, especially with armor. and just kind of using your infantry as landmines, really setting them up in positions where you think tanks are going to come through, and eliminating them like that. Right now, at this stage of the war, Panzerschrecks weren't actually, invented until the Americans brought the bazooka, which the Panzerschreck's actually just a, as I was saying, just a copy of it, really. So right now, our AT availability is really limited to tanks, half-tracks, and AT rifles, which don't do a lot against tanks. They don't do anything against tanks at all, actually, since most of the shells will bounce off. I really want to just hit this squad a few more times and just kind of kill it like that. What else is here? There we go. So. Looks like there's still 2 more tanks here. That assault was way off. That was definitely not Michael Jordan. That was also off. We're gonna cap this point, and the tank is actually retreating. If we swarm the tank with enough infantry and just kind of do the Inglorious Bastards, spray down on the unit, it might actually force the crew to abandon the tank, because tanks also take suppression fire. So, for example, it's already retreating, but if I put enough on it, hopefully I can, how's this tank so hard to assault? Yeah, I might be able to put it into routed, but since it's immobilized, I hope the crew will pop out, and even if it doesn't, it's probably going to go down next turn. There we go. So let's take a look at that tank. Yep, tank is abandoned, and the crewman popped out, so crewman, bye-bye. Oh, I hate when this happens, when the AI doesn't move the way you kind of expect it to. Where I thought it was going to go straight through the buildings, but apparently not. It decided to run out onto the street, which really sucks. Oh well. How many of these things do they have? Really? So many Katyushas. That one didn't even fire. Actually, looks like we're gonna win in the next turn or so. If we continue to push back at the enemy at this rate, chances are is that as soon as this squad is moved off the map, when it reaches the gray border, then we pretty much win. What I'm trying to do here is just to get the squads to waste their shots on units that are in good cover and then pretty much go in for the kill. Pop some smoke, kill the units that we can see. That's generally what I do when there's any suppression around. And I want to shoot the guy underneath that unit, but oh well. Well, it looks like we have a very good start on this campaign. We've already won 1 battle very easily, so that kind of says that we're gonna win the next battle very easily, as long as it's in the same scenario, in the same setting. some mortar down here. I'm gonna try to just charge these. There we go. Well, it looks like we just have to capture this point and look up here and the match is over. Oh, never mind. With the game missions, as long as you keep taking hexes, these victory hexes, the game will continue going on. So as soon as they're not near one of our flags and we're not near one of theirs, then we can actually, declare a victory, and then the game will actually end. Should be soon. Good. I'm using a heavy machine gun squad as regular infantry, and I'm just trying to charge them. Wow. But it works. Can't explain that. Okay, now I believe we can claim victory as soon as we take this flag. And is there anything else we haven't taken? Nope. That's always good. There we go. Okay, so battle report. We've won 3,000 points to 54. Lost roughly 40 men. They lost 200 men and lost 4 pieces of artillery. Well, that's a really good start. So I will see you guys next time. It would have been nice if I had picked off that Soviet HQ. So, pretty good victory, decisive victory. I'm going to save this in a spot that I already have called LP, and now we can see some of these troops gain veterancy, and our score listing is right there. So I will see you guys next time. Bye bye. Like the video and subscribe. Comment on which front you would like to see, the Balkans, the Eastern Front, and bear in mind if you pick North Africa, I'm going to hate you. It's only sand there, and I don't like sand.